Yaya DaCosta expresses her excitement about bumping into Tyra Banks and her decision to forgive despite her past traumatic experiences. So let's get to it.
Oh, wow. A lot was said and a lot was not said. I feel compelled to speak because ever since that speech aired last week from the Essence Black Women in Hollywood Awards ceremony, my DMs, why y'all acting up? There were so many comments asking all these questions, excited to see some beginnings of accountability, still mad because they didn't hear an apology, this apology that y'all have been talking about for years. And I wanted to share something with you that I shared with some women in the room at this awards ceremony. So what happened was I went to the bathroom once in the entire ceremony. It just so happened to be right before Tyra spoke. Her name wasn't on the program. Nobody knew she was gonna speak. It was just like unexpected. By the time I left the bathroom, I got caught in some conversations in the hallway, and then I thought, oh, now was a good time to do the photo studio that they had there. So I went to the photo studio. Tyra was sitting in the room, in the corner with her, I think, publicist, and there was no one else in the room except for the 4-person camera crew. What? I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a real interaction with this woman since 2004. And the story that I had been telling for so long was a story of trauma. There were so many things that happened on that show, some of which y'all know. Let's talk about manipulative editing and weaponization of girls' weaknesses, from catalyzing body dysmorphia to eating disorders, from anti-blackness to blackface photo shoots. Like, yes, there was real trauma. And it wasn't by accident, but by design. The goal was entertainment over real world modeling preparation, and especially over mental health. So it's no wonder that tell-all documentaries are coming out and that contestants are speaking after all these years, even decades, about healing from the shock of the experience. To be honest, the most shocking of which did not even air, but we're not gonna get into that, okay? What we're getting into here is forgiveness. This was such an amazing opportunity for me to finally close that chapter as I'm beginning a new one and to model grace. I was so excited in this moment to walk over to her, to reach for her hands, and to greet her with warmth, with gratitude, with love, something that I would not have been capable of. The couple of places that we've been in the past, we did not speak. Probably both pretended not to see each other. It was very awkward, very strange, very irresponsible. And most of all, irresponsible to myself. Because when you're continuing to blame someone for something, you're giving your power away. And I learned that the practice of forgiveness is for me. Can you please give me a tissue? Whew. It's for me. It's for me to be in my power, to know that my life is something that I am creating with every choice, with every dream, with every daydream, with every journal entry, with every conversation. I am speaking my life into existence. So if I keep telling the story of blame, then I'm refusing to take ownership. That I'm refusing to accept that everything that happens in life is not happening to me, but for me. And if that is true, then everything is serving me as long as I'm learning from it and growing from it. When I look back at my journey over these years, I'm kind of mad that it took me so long, but just so grateful that I finally came to this place of freedom. When I saw her, the old me would have been like feeling heat, you know, maybe my heartbeat would have sped up, or I would have tensed, or I would have had a conversation with myself about making eye contact, and well, if she looks back at me, then like all this energy wasted. And when I saw her, I was genuinely excited, and I walked over and we had a beautiful conversation. And no, there's no explicit apology, but you could see in that video, she's sick of people every once in a while bringing up these controversial clips from the show. And not for nothing, but some of the same people who are making these little videos and commentaries about, oh my God, can you believe this happened? Can you believe that happened? Back then, we're watching it and laughing and not really seeing anything wrong with it. Yes, things change. Like she said, we all evolve. Society as a whole is shifting. And so no wonder we as individuals are shifting. But let's not pretend that the show was not wildly successful because its audience base was right up there on the judging table with Miss J, Mr. J, Tyra, Nigel, Nole, all of them. The audience was right up there at that table judging, feeling good about knowing better that I can't believe she did that. We all evolve. We are all doing the best we can at all times with the resources that we have. It doesn't mean that we accept abuse, but we know that everyone is just trying to get their human needs met. When I hear this speech, what I hear is courage. It takes courage to get up in front of people and finally say what's been on her mind and heart for so many years, and to insist on recognition for the positive and not just the negative. And she's absolutely right. Before that show, there was nothing like it. It was a pioneer in terms of reality TV in general. It introduced so many people to versions of beauty. There were plus size people on the show. There were trans people on the show. There were gay people. There were men on the show. There were women on the show. It was all entertainment, yes, but the main takeaway is my connection to you all. I'm so grateful for that. I learned so much. I learned so much about myself. It's what motivated me to gain tools to be able to regulate my nervous system. Somehow there's a new pathway to being centered in spite of what's going on around us. That's a life skill. Was like introduced to because of my experience under that level of stress. So yes, the conversation was mostly small talk. Oh, you live in Australia. Oh, you have ice cream. Oh, I have this. I have that. Oh, you saw this movie. A lot of praise and compliments. She told the lady that was with her about the acting challenge on Top Model with Taye Diggs and how they were like, whoa, she can really act. Uh-oh, like this is not fair. And it was just fun to reminisce. Like it was actually fun. Her mom came in, who I remembered meeting there, and gave me a hug. She's like, oh my God, you look the same. Oh my goodness, you look beautiful. She looks amazing. And then it was time for them to go. And before they went, I just took her into an embrace. And there's the hug that you give acquaintances, there's the hug that you give strangers, and then there's a hug that you get and that you give when words don't suffice. Y'all, I held that woman. And when it was time for the hug to be over, I held some more. And I took a deep breath because I wanted her to feel what it feels like to fully be forgiven, appreciated, and loved. And we offer support in hopes that when it's our turn, that we receive support too. When it's our turn to stand up, and whether it's in front of one person or millions of people, and hold ourselves accountable, that we are received. After that magical moment, I went back into the room. Mind you, I still didn't know that she'd spoken. So I get back into the room, and there are a few sisters, right, in the community who were like, yo, Yaya, like, we was looking for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we was trying to feed, like, when Tyra spoke, we was trying to see what you was doing. We was going to follow your lead. Like, do we stand? Do we sit? Do we cross our arms? Do we clap? Like, what do we do? And I was like, oh my God, y'all, stop. I had to tell them about the moment that I just had. Something so magical happens when you just make the choice to let something go. And then it's gone. And then you're like, oh my God, like I'm free. And because I'm free, I want y'all to be free. They said, we're following your lead. And that's very similar to some of the things that people were saying in my DMs. And I was like, well, I feel like I have the responsibility now as the only ANTM alum in that room, one of the people that is still out there in front of cameras. I felt the responsibility to speak up. Some of my videos are some of the ones that circulate the most. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's time. It's time for me to just let everybody know that we're good. And I want y'all to be good too. And if there's anybody in your life you need to forgive for something, now is such an amazing time to do it. There's no time like right now to choose freedom, compassion, love, kindness. Our lives are our responsibility. And when we take accountability, we get to learn and grow from the losses, and we get to really celebrate the wins. Forgiveness is not for other people, it's for us. We don't need an apology in order to give that to ourselves or to the other person. And even if we don't hear the words that we think we need to hear from the other person, the intention is clear, and we can applaud the effort. We can show gratitude, and we can hold space. We can stay still in the silence, honor the pauses, maintain eye contact. We can deepen our shallow breath, drop our shoulders. We can smile, we can nod, create resonance and rapport with the other person so that they know that they are heard, that they are seen, that they are safe. That is a beautiful thing to give someone. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to finally have been able to give that to Tyra and to myself, and to know that I'm finally legitimately free. Grace. Grace.